This is Aftercast. You've got episode 27. Hello, this is Brandy Venzel, and I am pleased to welcome you to Aftercast, the audio companion to the Afterthoughts blog. For many years now, Afterthoughts has been a sort of intellectual watering hole for all of you classical Charlotte Mason homeschooling mamas out there. I like to call you Afterthinkers. You are thinking people, idea people, who never let a good book go to waste. You keep yourselves intellectually agile by reading books, often old books, and seeking out the best that has been thought and said and mixing it into your everyday lives of laundry and dishes and dinner and long division. Season 3 of Aftercast is sponsored by Charlotte Mason Boot Camp. Want to whip your Charlotte Mason muscles into shape? If so, my intense 6-week Charlotte Mason Boot Camp might be just the ticket. It'll take that philosophical flab and turn it into nothing less than confidence. I offer 3 sessions of Charlotte Mason Boot Camp per year, spring, summer, and fall. In 2019, I'm doing something extra special. I'm offering 2-week intensives, deep dives into some part of Charlotte Mason's philosophy, and it's available only to Charlotte Mason Boot Camp alumni. You know you want in, so to get on the Charlotte Mason Boot Camp interest list, go to afterthoughtsblog.net/cmbootcamp and sign up. Are you ready to take a look at Charlotte Mason's Mother's Education course? Before we talk content, we need to know our history, and I think you'll find this lesson particularly interesting. A brief history of Charlotte Mason's Mother's Education course. For those of you who are just joining us, you should know that we've lately taken a journey. We're looking at all the different aspects of teacher education that we can find in Charlotte Mason's world. We began by examining Charlotte Mason's personal schedules and how she educated her teachers, among other things. I plan for us to go through the content of the Mother's Education course, which we'll often refer to by the initials MEC. But before that happens, it helps to know something about the history of the course, and that's what we're talking about today. Let's begin with some words of encouragement from our dear friend Charlotte. This is from Volume 1. She says, "I venture to suggest not what is practicable in any household, but what seems to me absolutely best for the children, and that in the faith that mothers work wonders, once they are convinced that wonders are demanded of them." This pretty much encapsulates what I love about Charlotte Mason. She believes in us. The context of this quote is Miss Mason's assertion that children should be outside, in the country, for many long hours. But we see this attitude toward mothers so often from Miss Mason that I'm applying it here as well. It's easy to look at something like the MEC and think, well, who has time for that? And you know what? You might not. You really might not have time for it. But then again, there is Miss Mason with her wise smile telling you she really thinks you can do it. It will be a wonder, but she still thinks you can. She thinks you're capable of wonders. There is something really precious about that. Development of Charlotte Mason's Mother's Education course. According to Essex Chumley in The Story of Charlotte Mason, the MEC was mentioned in the Parents' Review, a magazine edited by Miss Mason herself, as early as 1891. If you recall, the Parents' Review was the publishing arm of the PNEU, the Parents' National Education Union. The aim of all of this was to educate parents that they might better direct the education of their children. With that said, the Mother's Education course seems to have been something of a work in progress. When I dug through the Redeemer archives, what I found was that Miss Mason at least toyed with the idea of changing the name from Mother's Education course to the PNEU Home Training Educational Course. I know this because the name on at least one of the syllabi was crossed out and replaced. There is no notation of why this was done, but I think we can imagine that she wanted the course to appeal also to maybe governesses or fathers. Another thing that changed over the years was that Miss Mason at least attempted to decrease the course from a 3-year course to a 2-year course. Again, I only know this from looking at the archives, and so I don't know exactly why this was done. This must have actually happened, however, because Essex Chumley says, quote, "The mother's education course consisted of syllabus 1 and 2 with examination papers for each. I have 3 years worth of syllabi that I downloaded to my computer to study, and a couple of them are marked up in order to reduce the course load, but exactly what the final product looked like is a mystery to me." Purpose of Charlotte Mason's mother's education course. A great question to ask at this point is, what is the purpose of the MAC? Chumley quotes Charlotte Mason. Quote, "Education demands more than mere reading. You read an article and forget it. You study a subject and either reject or make your own a life possession, the thought of the author with its practical bearings." The examination questions helped make sure that what happened was actual study and not just reading. Chumley adds, "It is hard to realize in our day of a popular press how difficult it was for parents to come by practical advice on educational matters." In our day, the difficulty is exactly the opposite. With all the blogs and books, it's hard to wade through and identify what is worth our time to study. Within the syllabi, we see these purposes listed: to help mothers to give such teaching as should confirm their children in the Christian religion, to give the knowledge necessary for the care and development of children in sickness and health, to show the principles of education and methods based on these principles, to awaken their children's interest in nature and to give them their first ideas. This knowledge was not to just enrich the personal life of the mother. Miss Mason meant for it to be passed on, for the growth of the mother's soul to be a direct blessing to others. Remember, Miss Mason was a leader, if not the leader, of the liberal education for all movement. Her goal was not just educated children or educated mothers. It was an educated populace, a glorious culture. Chumley tells us that Miss Mason wrote to the mothers in the MEC, quote, "Will the mothers who are doing this course make it their duty to pass on the knowledge they get, as they get it, to mothers of the artisan class, whether in the way of asking a few mothers to tea and chat, or in talk with a single mother in the course of cottage visits, or in mothers' meetings? Anyway, will they make pass on their watchword?" She does not see study as a private endeavor, but as a means to bless the world around us. What happened to the mother's education course? This is the most obvious question. While certain aspects of Miss Mason's work outlived Miss Mason herself, the MEC seems to slip quietly away. The truth is that it lasted just under a quarter of a century. The MEC, you see, was another tragic fatality of World War I. Chumley reports simply, "The MEC continued usefully for 23 years. It came to an end with the war difficulties of 1915, when mothers had no leisure for study." In the future, we'll discuss the content of the MEC. But today, I'm pondering why peacetime is so important to the development of a healthy culture. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you for joining me here at Aftercast. If you want to find the posts associated with these episodes, just go to afterthoughtsblog.net/podcast. That's afterthoughtsblog.net/podcast. There you'll easily find links for each episode. Now is the time for me to ask you to head on over to your podcast player and give Aftercast a rating and review. While you're at it, you might as well make it 5 stars, don't you think? Leaving ratings and reviews is a way to let others know about the show, so I'd really appreciate it. And finally, don't forget in the midst of your busy days that mothers are people too. Just like your children need sunshine and good food and sleep and, yes, good books to read, so do you. So go, read a book, think a thought, and then come back and join me for the next episode.